right, we're back on the Morning Brew with Friends, and we're talking about the Museum of Natural History here, and you guys actually have a startup thing of your own, don't you?
We do. We have a startup exhibit, or the exhibit's called Startup, and it's about the startup of the personal computing industry, but specifically about Microsoft and Microsoft's history here. Paul Allen Foundation was a big funder of that.
People forget that Microsoft did start here, and then they moved to Seattle and started the empire up there of computer stuff. But it really did start here in a little place, and those guys were great, and they launched and built and paid for basically this whole exhibit at the Museum of Natural History. What, maybe a decade ago it opened? It's been a while.
Not quite a decade, but close.
Yeah, it's a fun exhibit.
It is.
But one of the other fun things you guys are doing is this the 23rd annual Chocolate Fantasy?
That's right.
That's amazing. And this is Pat D with U.S. Bank, and you are the co-chair, you and your wife.
That's
you
right.
You and Debbie are doing
Debbie
this year. That's fun. How did you guys get involved?
Well, I was on the foundation board for about 6 years, starting in the late 90s. And we've been to Chocolate Fantasy many times over the years. Terrific event.
Right,
Probably our favorite
chocolate
thing.
and coffee, and you just hang out. It's one of the best silent auctions around too, right?
Great food, terrific silent auction, just a real good time.
Right, and it benefits the Museum of Natural History, right,
That's
Clint?
correct. All proceeds benefit the Museum of Natural History Foundation, and we are there to support the museum in a variety of different ways.
So how does the foundation differ from the actual museum?
Well, the museum is a state institution, State of New Mexico Museum, and part of the Department of Cultural Affairs. And then the foundation exists to raise funds for the museum and do a lot of the functions for the museums.
So which is like the special shows and other things that we wouldn't have otherwise, right?
Right, and we run the Dinah Theater.
Oh, I love that.
In addition
That's
to
so
the
much
store.
fun.
Right.
That is so much fun. And so without something like the Chocolate Fantasy, we wouldn't have the Dinah Theater, we wouldn't have a lot of the other special events, right?
Oh, this is the main fundraiser for the Museum Foundation each year, and it does a great job of providing some of the key funding that we need.
That's very cool. That is very cool. And in your case, you're a banker.
Right?
And, how does, you probably think about a lot of this stuff in terms of money. How much money are you trying to raise this year? Do you have a goal? Do you have a set number?
Well, we're hoping to hit right around the $300,000 mark.
That's huge. That's huge. What does it usually raise? About that?
It's been close to that in the past.
Right. And this year it's at a huge venue, too. You got the big room at Sandia, am I right?
We're out at Sandia. Debbie and I got to sample the food the other day, and I can tell you it's going to be primo.
Oh, it's excellent. And this is also to benefit the Birds of Paradise show, am I right?
Not to benefit it, but we did tie it in. We just had an exhibit called the Birds of Paradise open at the Natural History Museum.
Is that why you're wearing this awesome tie?
That is why I'm wearing this awesome tie.
I don't know if you guys can get a close-up of his tie, but I don't even know where you find a tie with flamingos. That's excellent.
I'll tell you after the show.
Okay.
But so that's a National Geographic exhibit that just opened at the museum. It's really amazing, but we wanted to tie this year's theme into that because it does offer a great opportunity to theme a party around.
Right. So does that mean we all have to wear plumage to the event?
You certainly can if you want to, man.
I'll find something. Well, Steve Westman, the Curious Townie, who helped bring you guys on this morning, and Steve Westman was telling me he's got some great feathers for one of his hats that he might actually wear for the event, which would be so much fun.
Perfect.
Yes. Well, so when is the event again?
March 14th.
March 14th.
6:30.
Tickets are
$200.
okay. But you can buy tables. And
you can buy a table.
Get your company involved to buy a table.
Absolutely. And you can contact us at the foundation, and we can help you set that up. Tickets are going pretty fast, though, and so we're really looking for a great event.
They always do go fast, and that room's big, but it fills up every year.
Last year we had 750 folks.
That's amazing. That's amazing. How did the event start? Like, how did the Chocolate Fantasy thing get rolling 23 years ago?
I wasn't there, but
you would have been 9, I think, then.
Unfortunately not, but much older than 9. But it was just there wasn't the landscape was a little bit different with galas in Albuquerque at the time, and we were looking to start something new. There wasn't anything chocolate related going on in Albuquerque at the time, and the event actually started at the museum. And at some point in the 90s, it outgrew the museum, moved to one of the hotels, and we landed at Sandia Casino last year. And just had great feedback about that room. It really offers us the ability to do all kinds of fun things that some of the other places haven't. So, but it's been a great 22-year run, and in a couple of days, or in a couple of weeks, it'll be 23rd.
23. That's amazing. And how did you guys get really involved with the museum? Was it a thing that you're just a fan of natural history or museums, or how did you end up, you and Debbie, falling into this?
Well, I grew up in Denver, and they have a great natural history museum
do.
there. And it just happens that I came to Albuquerque the same year that the museum was opened in 1986.
Oh, wow.
And so it really felt a little bit like home for me. I mean, here's another great natural history museum. I loved as a kid going and seeing the dinosaurs and that sort of
Right.
thing. So it's been something that I've loved to be involved with.
That's cool. I remember as a kid going and just playing with, they had the room with all the animals you could pet, like the snakes and everything, right? And then they had the dinosaurs you could climb. And as a kid, it was like this most amazing place. But now as an adult, I have a different kind of appreciation for it, as it's like the startup exhibit and everything else. But what's the latest on the big? Was it mastodon that was found?
Stegomastodon that was found at
yes.
that was found at the Elephant Butte.
Right, like that was this thing. These people just discovered it out of nowhere, and then they called the museum, and
Right.
your experts came in and basically cast the thing up and hauled it down there, right?
That's right. It was back at the museum probably within about 48 hours. And you can actually visit the museum any day and see us preparing that, getting it ready for exhibit. But it's in a little area just beyond the Naturalist Center where you were talking about with the animals. And we have a volunteer that's been working on that since June. And it's getting really close to actually being ready for the next phase. And probably won't be on the exhibit floor immediately, but it will be something that's brought in. But it's been really amazing to watch the progress on that. And it really is a great way to see how something goes from discovered to reaching the museum floor in a pretty quick manner.
Right, just overnight it seemed
Yeah.
like, and this thing was there. And that's part of what you guys at the foundation support, is that kind of work, am I right?
Absolutely.
All right.
And that really is why the museum exists, is to preserve that natural heritage of New Mexico.
Everything in New Mexico.
Absolutely.
Well, we want to thank Steve Westman, the Curious Townie, for bringing you guys on. This is great. You can check out his website, thecurioustownie.com. And we got a whole bunch more Morning Brew coming up, but we don't want to forget. What's the website again for Chocolate Fantasy and for the museum?
You can go to the naturalhistoryfoundation.org for Chocolate Fantasy, and then you had the website up for the museum. We've got,
Right.
but you can find us either one on those pages.
That'll be great. And Pat, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank
and
you.
We'll be back in just a couple of seconds with a whole bunch more Morning Brew with friends.